Welcome to another episode of Your Music is Bad and You Should Feel Bad with Matt and Blake. He's Matt, I'm Blake. Today we're talking about Sadboy Starsearch with Nevermore. I guess they need new band members, and they're doing the only thing you can do, which is American Idol for metal prog guys, I guess. Primus did it, so Nevermore can do it. What do you think, Matt? This seems weird and overwrought.
We don't know for sure yet that they're actually going to do like a thing where you can watch the audition kind of thing. I mean, I actually hope they do. I think that would be very entertaining. What they did was, why do you think it would be entertaining? Not because they're all like, for one thing. Okay, look, I'm gonna get ahead of myself. So Jeff Loomis and Van Williams are reforming Nevermore. They did not invite Jim Shepard because in the original split, it was Jim and Warrel and Jeff and Van, various differences and whatnot. And but a lot of time has passed and Warrel has died. And so they decided, let's do this. And you know what? Fine. Good for them. I'll probably go see it on tour. But they also want to make new albums. We'll see how that turns out. I could be more optimistic than I could about Dream Theater at least. But
oh my goodness.
They are holding open auditions for singers and bass players. If you're hearing this, it's too late. You missed the deadline, but that's okay. We're not here to tell you about it because more people have heard about it than are going to hear the podcast anyway. But they basically said, record yourself singing. There's a bass player. I forget what songs were for the bass player because I wasn't really paying that much attention to it, but they were different. But for the singer, they asked for Sentient 6 and Born, both from This Godless Endeavor. And I was considering recording one just for fun, but then I realized like the only way I would win is if it was secretly a trick to see if you could follow directions, because part of the instructions were like, send us a private YouTube video. You can put up a video, but you set it to private, and so only people with the direct link can view it. And then everyone just posted theirs online immediately. And I was like, private. They said private, and so I figured like you release it after the fact, but everyone's just like, no, here's my audition. I'm going to send it to you before I even send it to Nevermore. But then I also watched like two of them, and I was like, I'm not doing this, because like after you hear like two people sing both of those songs and like do their best Warrel impression, they're just like, this is gonna be embarrassing for most people involved, and I would prefer different songs anyway. But
I have a question, because I didn't pay a ton of attention to the thing because I don't want to try out for Nevermore. But is Nevermore looking for a Warrel clone, or do they want someone who they think can sing whatever new material they're planning to write?
Right. No, they said they want someone who can sing Warrel stuff, but they want someone with their own personality because they're going to do new original stuff. So it's like you got to be able to sing Warrel stuff, but try not to sound like you're doing a Warrel impression.
Okay.
Well, no, that's the thing. You probably shouldn't. And again, a lot of people are going to do it and just sound like they're doing a Warrel impression. That was the other thing. I was like, I don't think I can do it without doing a Warrel impression, so I'm out. Well, the other thing, I just want to be clear. The other reason is that they probably weren't going to pay me as much as my job. So I was like, it's a pretty new thing for me having a job that like pays me a proper amount of money. And so I was like, you know what? I'm not going to risk that. So, and also I wouldn't get it anyway, but that's fine. So they want, because it's not just a greatest hits tour. It's not just a like, let's go and play this stuff again. It's they want to do new material, a new album. And that part, whatever. Look, the last actual Nevermore album was not that great. And so, and Jeff's done a lot of stuff. He's written a lot of riffs, but like they all kind of like you've heard his stuff. And so I'm a little skeptical that something's going to come out that's going to be a fresh new take on Nevermore. It'll probably be okay. It'll probably be as good as the Phone It In, Obsidian Conspiracy contractually obligated Final Nevermore album.
Can we agree that the production on whatever next album will probably be better? Almost because it has to be, because of how much time has passed and what technology has done.
Yeah, but it'll probably just be Andy Sneap again. So it'll probably be. I mean, Obsidian, not Obsidian. I think this Godless Endeavor sounded really good. That was the like, I think the sort of modern production caught up kind of thing, and I think uh, that one sounded really good.
I'll have to give it another listen. I did not.
Dead Heart
I
sounds
had
good
problems.
considering when it was recorded, and what they worked with, which we talked about in the Dream Theater episode that we recorded long ago.
Recently.
And
Semi.
if you check out our Dream Theater Nocturnal Emissions new album review,
Yeah, no, absolutely. We have
available
lots
wherever
of
you heard
opinions
this.
about why that's stuff too.
And I
Click, like,
talked about,
subscribe.
yeah, because Andy Sneap produced that too. But Enemies of Reality, Andy Sneap fixed it. I think Godless Endeavors sounded like it was. I don't know how to describe it. Like it wasn't compensating for anything production wise. It just sounded good, which is weird because I think he was using crank amps on that one, and I think crank amps sound terrible. But I could see Andy Sneap taking that and making it into something because he just knows how to EQ guitars. And so I don't know what the source guitar tones on any of his stuff were, but he turns them into the solid gold. So
Solid.
yeah, it will
Solid
probably sound
gold.
great. But yeah, but who cares? I don't know if that'll matter.
But who cares? Because it's another fucking Franken band trying to
Yes.
ride out the shit.
Another sort of 50-50, half tribute, half reunion. But I will definitely go see them on tour because I'd love to hear some Nevermore on tour. But man,
Hey, where did Andy Sneap come from? What's his? Is he just a recording engineer by birth and trade, and that's his thing, or was he in bands, or what's he keeps
was
coming
in
up? I
bands.
don't know a lot about him. He
He
did
was
play,
in
didn't he?
Yes, and he still does. I think he even more recently like said, and I think he very briefly played with Judas Priest. But he let's see.
Not to put you on the spot here. I know you're an Andy Sneap historian, but
Yeah, well, yeah, no, except I'm not because I messed up. I
that's
basically gave him credit for producing something he didn't produce on another episode, and had to issue a retraction that nobody heard.
jeez.
But he was in he was in a band called Sabbat, Sabbat, and a band called Hell. But who cares because he's been producing stuff since the 90s, and he's basically known as a producer, mixer, engineer, and he in a lot of ways, really kind of pioneered his own metal production sound that is very good. And like I said, I like based on there's very specific evidence to me that he can take raw source material and make gold out of it, even if arguably it shouldn't have been that easy. So he's really doing something on his end. He's not just like some guys are just like, you just got to capture the magic and whatever. But he's probably doing that too. He probably knows how to like mic guitar cabs really well, but he's also definitely doing a lot in the mix to get the most out of it. Also, I have multiple examples of I use Tune Track Superior Drummer, and he's worked with them a lot. And any of his presets, like preset mixes for drums on there, are also very distinct. And there's a lot of layering. Like very often you'll have like the kit, and then he'll have layered another kick or another snare over the one in the kit, and it's set up in the thingy, so it just triggers like it's just one kick or snare, but like it's very distinct, like, oh, that's a big part of his sound, and you hear it and it really stands out, and it makes like the kick and the snare sound huge. So he's he's big time metal producer mainly from
You're gonna have to like point out some more anti-Sneap credits to me, because I feel like I got to listen to some more of this to kind of get exactly what you're talking about. Obviously, we have a couple of examples, but I need more.
Right.
He keeps coming
I
up.
think he's
Seems like an
been
important guy.
producing all the recent Judas Priest stuff. You know.
Well, okay.
Yeah, he did Invincible Shield, and he did the last Dream Theater too. Or wait, not the last one, the 2021. No, that was the last one, 2021. He did the last couple. Weird, because I feel like I liked how this one sounded. Last one sounded better, but he's been on the last couple as well. Maybe something to do with Portnoy being I don't know. I gave him a lot of credit on our Dream Theater episode that I'm now plugging.
And now we're
for making
retracting.
the guitars sound better. I'm not retracting, but
Next
whatever.
time on Your Music is Bad. More retractions about Andy Sneap.
Maybe it was both of them, because something about it, I thought I liked what he did with it more. I thought it basically answered the one thing I wanted from Petrucci's tone that wasn't always happening, where I feel like he was making it too thick, taking up too much frequency space. And I feel like on the recent one, it backed off a little, and it took the right amount of frequency space. But whatever, it's a nitpick, it's a small thing. Anyway, back to Nevermore. So yeah, I mean, Andy's a big guy in metal production, and he's arch enemy. Like, you just look, if you go through his, you'll like recognize a million things if you go through his discography on Wikipedia, like I'm not doing right now.
Okay, so all that aside, how do we feel about this Starsearch business? This process of we're gonna have you send in all these submissions, and we're gonna narrow you down, and we're gonna take people from that, and we're gonna narrow you down again, and is this like I had mentioned, Primus did it, and that's weird, right? This is weird.
It is, but like, and so did Dream Theater when Mike left. I hope they make the most as big a circus of it as possible, with like full on, video. Like when they get down to the finalists, I hope because I didn't expect this until they posted like a teaser of like coming soon, the like audition kind of thing. Like, and again, I may have even misinterpreted the post. Here, let me because they posted, first they said the deadline was January 31st, and then they wouldn't take any more submissions. But then there was a teaser. Maybe I hallucinated it. A teaser after the teaser about the auditions, but I don't know, maybe not. But I hope they do a whole thing where they have guys come in and they play with them and record it and put it online, because I would watch it. We could do a whole episode about it. That would be great content.
Yes.
But the end result would, like, they already have a second guitar player, so they weren't taking, because I would have definitely sent a guitar audition in just because that would have been more in the ballpark. When back in after I left Mirror Black, the Nevermore clone band I used to be in, there at one point when Warrel was still alive, my old drummer apparently talked to him and Jim at a Sanctuary show, because Jim and Warrel had been together since Sanctuary, and thus also they were both there longer in Nevermore than at least Van. Jeff was there from the beginning of Nevermore, and I think Jeff joined Sanctuary at the very end, and that turned into starting Nevermore because they wanted it to be a little different than Sanctuary. But Jeff and Jim had considered doing their own restarted Nevermore, and so and the conversation, whatever after show bullshitting had been that, my old drummer was gonna try out, and he was gonna, but they also they had a guitar player, which I think was one of Warrel's Brazilian crew, from his solo stuff, but they needed a second one, and I was like, yeah, put me in, like, give me the like, oh, you need somebody to write songs that sound like Nevermore, because I have done that. I have, that is within my purview, and I can also write songs that don't sound like Nevermore. Whatever you want, man, just tell me what.
What fun is that? You can't
but-
write
but
new
not-
material in Prague? What are you talking about?
but nothing ever came of it. And I will say that, like, at least they decided it's actually good. I mean, the actual reunion was never going to happen, and there was even like interviews with Warrel where he was like, people tried to get us to reunite, offered us a lot of money, and it didn't work out, so it's never gonna. So they were never going to reunite with Warrel.
Then he died.
And then he died. But again, but in a way that not that it's for the best that he died, but it's for the best for their reunion that he did, because there's no like Jim popped up for a minute to be like, well, they didn't ask me, and but then he's not, but then he also said, like, just to clarify, who cares, have fun, you know, he wasn't going to start a stink, and we're not going to get a Jeff Tate's Operation Mindcrime and Queensryche like competing acts nonsense, because that like is usually
doing like a third one of those now. Oh my god.
Oh yeah, he's gonna do Mindcrime 3, which is
it'll provide more context to the story and tell people what's going on. Fuck off, Jeff. Jesus Christ.
I just hate that I'll probably have to listen to it for masochistic reasons, because it's
we're gonna listen to it for this podcast. It's going to be great. You got that to look forward to. So definitely click, like, subscribe, and bring the wrath against the Tate. It feels bad, man, but it has to be done.
I saw something on Facebook
his fault.
where he was like singing with someone in a bar, not like on stage, just like hanging out, singing. And there was a thing that was like, you know how they have those like VIP, like, you know, meet and greet, like, so you can pay $300 for a ticket that was already going to cost you $150 kind of thing, and you get to say hi and take a picture. He took it a step further where he was like, sing in the pubs of Scotland with Jeff Tate, and it was like, is he like getting fans to finance his like alcohol vacation? Like, it sounded like he's just going to go around Scotland and be like, well, you bottled my drink, so here's a song, and like, I was like, that's a new level of whatever, man.
maybe he's trying to make it so that he sounds good, because if you go around with him hitting up all the pubs,
he's gonna sound amazing. Right, if you're both hammered and you're singing along, he's gonna sound amazing. It's just
that's a shame.
It's very sad. God. But
so back a little bit to topic. Do we think something positive can come of Starsearch? Can this work? Can it be a cohesive band, or is this a one and done and a shit album?
They need to find someone who's a good singer and can write some half decent lyrics, and then maybe like I don't know. Like, I don't want to be too pessimistic about it. I hope there's a chance it's something I enjoy. I don't expect it to be as good as like the classic Nevermore albums, but there's a chance, because I mean, again, I feel like Jeff's one of those guys who he did a bunch of stuff after Nevermore, and it all sounded like him, but it didn't quite. It's one of those balancing things, I think, where like, because he did certain things where it was just like me and another guitar player, and we're both going, and it was like, I think he needed the singer to balance it out, and Warrel was the singer. That it was the combination of those guys that I think, you know, was the magic formula. And even some of the good later Nevermore stuff sounded like some of the earlier Nevermore stuff in terms of Jeff's riffs and stuff, you know, like he had some guitar solos that started to kind of sound like other guitar solos he did, because his style, like kind of like all those guitar solos on the new Dream Theater. Check out that other episode we keep talking about for no apparent reason.
No, it's fine. Shut up.
Where it was just like, okay, that wasn't bad, but you've done that before. And with Jeff, it was like where there was one. I used to joke with Rich about this, where there was one song where literally the solo just sounds like sweep exercises, because they're just like the whole solo is just these up and down sweeps on like 7 strings, and they're hard and whatever. And I guess there is classical music where they just modulate arpeggios through chords, but that was the guitar solo, and then it was like guitar solo. It was like technically, I guess, but so I don't know. Who knows? But also maybe he's been so bored playing in Arch Enemy for however many years. Maybe he's got something up his sleeve, locked and loaded. That's going to come out.
That brings me to another question I just kind of thought of while we're talking about this. So this Jeff is writing the guitar parts, obviously, because he plays, and presumably most of the music. Is he doing lyrics, or was that was mostly Warrel, as far as I understand?
I think it was mostly Warrel.
So is Jeff going to write the lyrics now? Do they want a guy who's going to have some lyrical writing talent out of Starsearch? Because if you're just here's a video, you know shit about if I can write stuff.
Right, that's the tricky thing. Rich actually said what they should have done was when the Obsidian Conspiracy came out, the contractually obligated final Nevermore album that everybody phoned in, they took a track and they released the instrumental track. There was like a contest where you wrote your own lyrics to it or something, and he was like, "Oh, they should just do that again." And or have that be part of it. Yeah, but for realsies, hell, write lyrics and sing on a track. That does get into some tricky areas where
licensing.
Then right. Whether they could actually use it if they liked it, and then you were just like, you know what, never mind, I'm busy. But that would be the way to actually find out if someone could do it. Because I don't know that Jeff, I don't know if he can or would write lyrics. I think Warrel did most of them. I want to say I remember at some point there being some by Jim, maybe one song or something, but it was mostly Warrel. That was his lyrics.
Well, because he was the sad boy of Sadboy Starsearch. Exactly. That was his whole thing. He had God knows what was going on, all people dying and diseases, and I don't know. It was very sad.
Know what was going on because it was in the lyrics. He told you about what was going on.
Yes, I know. But I didn't like it, so I didn't listen that closely because I'm not really in for sad boy bullshit. So I'm wondering if maybe this with a different songwriter will be something I find a little more listenable. This is selfishness.
It's really hard to say if they'll find someone who is both a good enough singer and can actually write lyrics that don't just sound like a half-assed imitation of Warrel.
I bet it's not going to be the guy from Fellowship.
Oh, definitely not the guy from Fellowship. It's hard to say, and I'm curious to see. I hope if they don't, either they find someone who can manage. I really don't expect much in lyric-wise, because I also don't think
someone's got to write them.
It's the kind of someone's got to write them, but that's exactly the thing. It was always Warrel's deal. So and even Warrel sometimes had some, weaker ones that were just sounded, especially later on, especially the Obsidian Conspiracy, it just sounded like him writing, lyrics, imitating his own lyrics. So my expectation is it's just going to be like Obsidian Conspiracy, because it'll just sound like somebody kind of doing the stuff Warrel had already done, and sounding half-assed because it's just not Warrel. And he even sounded half-assed on that one because he was phoning it in. And but it actually, the only reason it might be better is that apparently that album, the producer got Jeff to rein it in a lot and was like, instead of all these extra riffy bits or whatever, simplify the songs and stuff, which maybe sometimes would be good for him, but then in that case, it just sounded like watered down in general. And so I don't know if that was really the move, but it didn't matter anyway, because it sounded so kind of disconnected and contractually obligated final album. Contracts
Perfect.
completing.
Just exactly what you want, in Prague especially.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
good.
I don't know. I tried to
So
give
we
it
don't
another
have big
listen.
expectations for this. So this is
Yeah.
all just going to go to poop, right? We're going to get an album. Nobody's going to care, and
I mean, some people are going to
life
probably
goes on.
care. You got to keep in mind how many people have low expectations or just their standards. The bar is low. Just always remember the bar is low. And I think the new Nevermore will get over it. And I think they have enough rep, plus enough people know Jeff from Arch Enemy and just being a like guy who plays guitar and you see it on the internet. Like there's a whole separate thing now about like, do people even listen? People know who he is who probably never even listened to Nevermore. And so I think they'll get enough of a audience that they'll like play festivals and they'll do a tour and then who knows. But
Hey, question for you. So
yeah,
Jeff was part of Arch Enemy, which had certainly some well-established singers who have not just done Arch Enemy but other things. And there are other bands out there that certainly love to do the guest singer thing. Is it a thing they would do? Is it a thing that would be cool or an asshole move if you have Starsearch for your new singer? But could you get guest singers from established bands that you've worked with? I'm looking at you, Alyssa. Everybody likes Alyssa. Alyssa's good for record sales. Would it be okay with you if Alyssa had guest vocals at some point on this alongside new singer person?
would it be okay with me or like
Yeah,
Jeff?
you're a Nevermore fan. I'm
Sure.
less so.
I prefer her on things that aren't Arch Enemy. Like I think
Agreed.
she's at her best as a guest singer because I saw her do that with Camelot. And then like also she wrote really bad lyrics with Arch Enemy and like tried to do too much clean singing, which is weird though because like again she was able to like she had done it before, but then in Arch Enemy it was really bad. I don't even know how it was so bad, but yeah, no, and I think they'll probably do that, like as assuming that Jeff's on good terms and didn't
You'd
leave
hope.
like
Hard to
as long
say.
as there wasn't secretly some like fuck you guys, but like he was in that band
Ate
so
a whole
long,
steak
I'm
in front of
sure.
her, and she was like, "That's enough of that."
I'm sure. I'm sure he's in that band long enough that he was just like, well, that's enough of that, and I'm gonna take my pile of money and go start
money.
Nevermore again.
Right.
But we'll see. I don't know. Let us know in the comments what you think is going to come of the new Nevermore, and if you think who you think. A bunch of people were like, "Oh, that was what I thought would have been a funny joke." Was there was some guy who somebody put up like, "Oh, this one singer slash like vocal coach guy has to be the new singer," blah blah blah, and then that guy posted and was like, the rumors are not true. I am not I'm not actually the new singer for Nevermore. And this was before they even announced auditions.
Oh, good.
But somebody was just like, "Oh, I heard it's this guy," and he's like, "I am not, in fact, the new Nevermore singer, but I would like to be. Please hire me. I don't have a job." Like, because all this, like, oh, someone's a really big vocal coach. What does that mean? Like, do they have a lot of clients, or do they just like known for? Because like, I don't know. Like, if you're a big time vocal coach, you probably also want to be in a band. Well, if you're a big time metal vocal coach, you probably wish you were in a band that people had heard of, and not just known for coaching people to sing better. But who knows? But I think it'll be interesting to see. Like, I know some good people. Adone Fanion. I don't know if you ever caught Ghost Ship Octavius. He was the singer slash a guitar player in Ghost Ship Octavius, which is with all due respect, in the sort of like. I don't want to disrespect them by calling them a clone, even though I disrespected my own band by calling us a clone. But in a positive way, they were very like, again, derivatives is considered derogatory, but I mean in a like in a musical DNA way. There's a lot of Nevermore in that band, and Matt Wickland, the main guitar player, he played on one, if not both, of Warrel's solo albums. Like they're connected to Nevermore, and their bass player, Dagna Silesia, she had played, I think, for Nevermore on tour when Jim couldn't. Like they're connected. They're Seattle people. They're connected to Nevermore, and also Ghost Ship Octavius was a good band. They had 2 albums that were good, and then they disappeared because nobody was looking for bands that sound like Nevermore 10 years ago, I guess. So they probably didn't make enough money. But I know Adone Fanion, very good singer, he put up his audition for it, and so that would make a lot of sense. I didn't see anybody else who like jumped out at me as like, oh, that he would be the right guy. And then people made there's a lot of fun suggestions like people have suggested
Arnel Pineda.
He's busy getting paid way more than Nevermore will pay. Multiple people suggested former Iced Earth singers like Stu Block, which would work because Stu Block is
Stu. It was great.
He's a great singer, and he's very versatile.
Yeah, he really is. He would
but the
be much better than I would hope for this at all.
Someone suggested Matt Barlow, and it was like, yeah, because that fits like all the like themes of the band, like much more like kind of anti-authority, anti-cop band is like, let's get an actual cop to sing for this band. Although I could see the kind of thing where like Jeff and Van maybe don't care because like again I don't know how much they even paid attention to the lyrics over the year. I feel like it was Warrel's thing, he did what he wanted, and so who knows if that in the split they were just like, we're sick of hearing Warrel complain about the system and the maybe they were sick of his sad boy bullshit too, and so
that's what I'm saying.
Someone like Matt Barlow come in and maybe he'll start writing lyrics about America, and Warrel will rapidly spin in his grave until he launches into space. I don't know.
Perfect. Good. I look forward to that. Either way, I'm actually much more interested in this now that we've discussed ways that it could be fun instead of just more sad boy bullshit.
And that's all I can hope for these days. It's interesting. I don't expect I don't know what I don't expect because when do I ever expect it? But
I don't even know what that means. I'm confused. And that's
probably well, I will say this relative to our forthcoming episode. I'll do this as a little preview of an upcoming episode. We're listening to a bunch of people's top 10, top 20 lists, particularly Angry Metal Guy, and
oh yes,
I didn't expect to have much to say about the new Fellowship, but I have enough probably for a whole episode now. And
I haven't listened yet. I'm gonna. Well, you're gonna.
I think you should. You don't have to like listen to it a lot, but just probably once at least. But there's very interesting, distinct new criticisms I have from listening to it that I wasn't expecting. And what happened was, as I was listening to it, I was starting to wonder, like, maybe I don't care enough to do the podcast, to like criticize music if I just don't even care to listen to it. What is there even to say anymore? And then I listened to this Fellowship album and I was like, oh, you bastards.
Back to our roots.
And I was like, nope. This is egregious and needs to be said. So stay tuned for upcoming episode about Fellowship, the Skies Over Eternity, which I forgot like 4 times trying to listen to it in my car. I kept telling Siri to play Stars Over Eternity or something, and Siri's like, I don't know what that is. Who the hell is Fellowship? And I'm like, good point, Siri, but I can't, but I'm driving. I can't like, it's hard to look up music if you don't know if you don't know the title of it.
Oh, good.
But I listened to that thing like 3 times, and so I have notes. It's bad, so we'll get to that.
Good. On that note, click like, subscribe if you want to hear us talk about just the worst shit that the worst person an Angry Metal Guy likes for some fucking reason. And I'm gonna cuss so much more in that episode because I'm gonna be so angry.
Like it if you enjoyed our commentary. If you didn't, give us a comment. Tell us why we're wrong. Tell us how Nevermore's gonna be amazing. Or
yeah, please tell us how that's going to work.
And which honestly, I said it might be. I don't know. I hope it is. I'd love it to be at least. I don't think. Yeah, Warrel's gone, man. Warrel's not coming back. It's never going to be what it was.
Game over, man.
Warrel's dead as shit. So, but I can hope for something there's been other times that bands brought somebody new in and it was like, it was good enough. It was something worth listening to a few times. That's all I ask
We'll
these days.
see what we get.
If I listen to it more than once, holy crap. Like that new Opeth, I was like, I kept listening to it. What the hell?
Yeah,
Maybe it's me. I don't know. But I listened
Getting
to
old,
Fellowship
man.
3
Getting
times
old.
because it was awful and they have committed dastardly crimes against music that we will explore in our forthcoming episode.
Good stuff. All right. See y'all.
I'm turning it off now.